Hi, my name is Hayley Quinn.
I'm Martin.
And we're finally back to do a catch-up video. It's a little bit colder than we expected to be, so I'm shivering outside. But as you might know, Martin is my transformation client. So we've been working together for a while now, looking to kind of look at all the different areas of Martin's life, from like dating to health to wealth, to really get him on a completely different track. Now, as with all things, it has not been entirely simple, in that I had a major life catastrophe myself, as you guys probably already know about if you watch anything on my other channel, which sort of took out a good couple of months, but I'm back in action. And really, I just want to do a
kicking butt, as they say.
Kind of getting there, I would say getting there.
You'll get there.
Getting there on the kicking butt front. And so I wanted to bring Martin back just to begin, before we do any more live coaching, where I'm going to be taking Martin out and teaching him how to go about meeting women. I wanted a little debrief about what's been going on over the few months, health-wise, wealth-wise, and with dates. So you have had a few dates?
Yes, I have had a few dates. Yeah, they haven't all gone great. I've got one friend out of it, so that's something. But you know, it's more dates than I've had for a long time. So getting there,
right.
Things are getting better.
So run me through the dates. They all came from online dating. So there we go. For all that effort we put into like changing your profile and getting new pictures done, and working on the messages has made a difference, because you know, that's a 300% improvement.
Definitely, yes.
So run me through them. So what was date number one? Because that seemed to go pretty good at the beginning.
Yeah, date number one seemed to go well. It went really well. We got on well, had a good, intelligent conversations.
And what did you learn about where to meet for dates and how to set that up? Because you did stuff differently, right?
Yes, it's best to plan something. If you've always planned something, and as Hayley said, plan somewhere to go for a drink, because it's more sexy.
Just like everyone can get coffee, have a drink. Yeah, and so we actually got you to the point where because I think it's proven that actually if you have and this is scientifically proven, if you offer a specific plan, and that's not like meet me 7:15 to 8:16 p.m. at this geographical coordinate, it's more like, hey, let's go out and let's go and meet for a drink, or let's meet here and I'll pick a bar nearby. Yeah. If you sound organised and like you've got a plan and you're being masculine and decisive enough to communicate it, it's like an easy win.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. I did notice that, yeah. And initially we did talk about going on a second date while we were there, but afterwards the communication was not quite right. She didn't come across very well in communication, and basically we kind of didn't go on that second date, did we?
Yeah, okay, so there was a couple of things that happened there. She went away, right, for a couple of weeks, and I always say, and remember this, enthusiasm has a half-life, especially even if you're using an app, even like Tinder. If you don't send her a message within like a couple of hours of matching, you know what, there's gonna be a window of time where she's sat there completely bored and is completely up for talking to someone. After that though, what you'll find is if you leave that gap and that time frame too long, she takes ages and ages to start actually replying. And she goes, oh, he doesn't like me, he hasn't given me attention, blah. But it's the same on dates. If you have one date, even if it's pretty good, if they're just through life circumstances, happens to be like a 2-week gap, after that, what happens? It's like people forget about how much they enjoyed spending time with you, and it drifts into nothingness. And also, I didn't like that woman that much because she was being really demanding from the get-go, and I think someone who's too rigid in terms of like everything has to be done their way and there's no compromise and there's no willingness, it's like it's not a good look for a long-term relationship. But anyway, at least you had a good chat and you went to a sexy bar, so that's the positives. Date number two.
Date number two, she said to me she wasn't initially physically attracted to me. I wasn't really her type, but she said let's be friends and see how things go. And
you wouldn't normally agree to that unless you don't agree to it unless you're genuinely open for friendship. But you were, right?
Yeah, I was pretty much, you know, I thought, yeah, why not, you know, give it a go. We met up, and really I think we kind of really both realised that, yeah, we'd make good friends, but not more than that as such.
Right. And there wasn't a spark from your side, right?
No, it wasn't a spark from my side, really. You know, we chat a fair bit every now and again on WhatsApp, whatever. And yeah, you know, I think I've got a friend out of that, so that's something.
Yeah, and I think lessons that you learn, not every person you meet, even if they're of the opposite sex, get this, is suitable for a relationship. Yeah. Like, sometimes you meet people and it's like, it's surprising, but there's just not that connection, and it's almost wrong to try and force something to be something that it's not. Likewise, if you do have a really strong attraction to someone, to then be friends is also equally a bit, unless somebody's in a relationship, that's a different story. So I think that you took the positive from that.
Yeah.
And I think that actually worked out quite well. And also I think attraction, to be honest, is usually two-sided. Like if one person isn't feeling it, it's unlikely that the other person is sat there thinking, wow, we're having this most amazing connection, I'm so into them.
Yes.
Unlikely. Date number 3.
Date number 3, I made a plan of things for us to do.
Which was?
Well, we were talking about films. And she said she hadn't seen Superman versus Batman. I said, oh, why don't we go for a drink and then go and see that afterwards? And she was like, yeah, okay, sounds good to me. Yeah, let's do that. And then when we met, she kind of completely changed her mind about everything that I planned and that we'd agreed to.
And she said, let's go get a tea.
Yeah, let's go get a coffee or tea, whatever, from somewhere. So I was like, okay, fine, all right. We did that, got chatting for a little bit, only for about half an hour or so. She didn't seem that interested in what I had to say, and it was kind of like, after that, she kind of said, oh, I've got to go now, and that was it on that one, so.
I think that's a classic internet date in some ways.
Yeah.
And it's also, you can't control the attraction, and negatives, and this is how, from your side, someone who changes plans last minute,
yeah.
it's another, I don't think anyone should flake, by the way, I'm going to bring this up right now. I think flaking and changing plans shows poor character. If you make a plan, just stick with it. I know that we live in the age of WhatsApp, so it's easy to cancel stuff, but I think it's so much better just to go with it if you made that agreement.
Yeah.
And okay. And then, her general lack of interest in engaging with you as a person, again,
Yeah.
So, we're going to go back to meeting people in real life, and we're also going to do some app dating.
Okay.
Just to give it a try and see what it's like. Because you know what, sometimes I don't think sometimes online dating apps, whether it's Happen or Tinder, they're not all bad. They don't necessarily mean hookup. Obviously they're more picture driven,
yeah.
but I also think that within a particular age range, particularly if you're sub 40, they're just the means of dating that online that people use the most, because people can't be bothered sending 5 questions back to back. So because you're looking in that demographic, and because your pictures, and you've actually got a relatively decent response from the online dating, it makes sense that we make a little Tinder version. And then on top of that, we're also going to start approaching in real life, because it's the spring and everything's back to normal now, so we could do that. Also, other action plan wise, we're going to do a few tips in a second about
interviews. For job interviews.
Because what's the problem with the job interview front? And this is important as well, because as I always go on about, it's if one area of your life is if you haven't got a strong base, you make bad decisions when it comes to dating. And I say this as I've done this myself, which basically means if it's you feel a bit unfit, you feel physically depleted or tired all the time, you're in a job you don't really like, you don't feel like you have many friends.
You're not going to be your best, are you? You're not going to feel great at all.
When you're starting on the back foot, it's you will want a relationship so much to fix it and make your life better that you'll end up picking someone. First of all, you're less attractive. Secondly, even if you do pick someone, they're going to be someone who's probably not the best person for you, because you're not coming from a strong negotiating position.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I completely agree.
Right. So this is why it's we're talking about. So we're going to talk interview technique, because what's the general stuff that's been happening on the interviews to give them and can you give them a little indication about where you're at?
Yeah. Well, as you guessed, as part of it all, I'm looking for a new job at the moment, and I get plenty of interviews, I just don't get past the interview stage.
And what was the interview feedback you got last time?
Well, last time I got some feedback that they said I was a bit too nice for the environment. It was a trading environment. They said it'd be a very stressful environment, and they didn't think I'd be able to handle it. I was a bit too nice.
Okay. So. I think there's a backhanded compliment in there, but I think what we're going to do, so we do another little short video, I think, about some interview technique stuff, including the 2 questions they always try and screw you over on, which are
what are your greatest strengths and what is your weaknesses?
That's just a trick question, isn't it? I almost wish you could say that's a trick question as your response.
Yes.
And fitness-wise, this has been another bit of the journey as well. We need to update people on.
Yeah.
So as you know, it's guess what? Getting fit has highs and lows.
Yes.
And it's a big process. And I think sometimes with food and fitness, it's one of the ways that how I view it is, if I'm not feeling particularly good about myself, which some days I don't, I think everyone has bad days, what am I going to do? I'm going to you know, look up some stuff on the internet that's going to make me unhappy, eat some bad food, or then go out and party. Like, I'll do all the bad stuff, you know, and it's literally an act of like, oh.
Yeah, just to try and ignore it, shove it to the back of your mind or whatever. And,
right.
You know, in the long run, you think, short term, you think, great, I feel good. And then in the long run, you feel worse.
And short term is usually like 30 seconds, right, after consuming something.
Yeah.
And then after that is like, no. So it's like a psychological battle. So can you tell people about what you've been doing so far and so talk to them about what the training that you did.
Okay,
physical training.
I was doing the training with personal trainers that Hayley arranged for me, and doing a very intense program to get myself fit. I lost a fair amount of weight on that, about 2 stone.
Which is a lot.
But I kind of like had what I call a blip, where I kind of got a bit overwhelmed by it all and I kind of fell off the wagon, so to speak. And it took me a little while to recover, but now, you know, I'm back to it and trying again now and going from there.
Yeah, and what are you doing? So you're doing stuff by yourself, and tell the little changes that you made personally.
Well, one of the little changes I've made is I went out and bought 5 big lunch boxes, and I'm starting to food prep in advance now. You know, like Sunday evening, try and make food up for the week so I can take it to work with me. So, you know, I've got lunch and dinner there, so I'm not tempted to go to takeaways or places like that, so I can eat better.
And you also recognise when you're most prompted to go to eat bad food, naughty food.
Yeah, I've been making a kind of mental note of when I feel bad, you know, what I was doing, what I was feeling when I was overeating, and I've realised it's basically when I get run down and tired.
Yeah, which is normal, right? Because you feel you're depleted, your brain isn't functioning. I've got the worst jet lag today, by the way, so I can absolutely say this. Then you start, like, you're not really, and you're looking for an energy boost, also something to quickly uplift you and uplift your mood. And I think the big thing is with the diet and the fitness, it's people, you have to understand, it's a battle up here, right? It's a psychological battle to, like, win out, because everyone can, or, you know, some people don't have other underlying health issues, but generally you can exercise and you can eat better food choices, and you will gradually, in a healthy way, lose weight. And we don't want to turn you into like a skinny, it's just to get into health, right? But then
when you get in that state, you're looking for a fix, but that fix in the long run does you more harm than good. So in the short term, you feel great, but then afterwards you're like, why did I do that? I'll just set myself back.
That applies to so much stuff. You know, that's just the psychology. That's the behaviour why people do stupid things. Like, well, not stupid things, but things they know aren't going to be helpful long term. Whether that's cheating, drinking, drugs, looking up their exes on Instagram. It's like whatever you're doing, you're literally you know you're harming yourself. And what turned it around for me is when someone said to me once. And they're like, you know, like every time you do that, you're just trying to emotionally hurt you. And that's what you're really, on some level. So what I think we should do, it should be sensible, because I know you're doing lots of practical stuff anyway, and I'm proud of you for taking that into your own control.
Thank you.
I think what would be useful for everyone to know as well, can you make a list of when you get those trigger points, those flash points of like, oh, I want to eat something, like I want to get the takeout, you know, work out whether it's the tiredness, not feeling so good, because I think if we attack the underlying issue, it'll be better.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, really
I definitely think it's the tiredness, maybe a tiny little bit boredom. But I'm learning to deal with those things now. Yeah,
because you're doing low technology before you sleep.
Yep, that's right. I'm doing a bit of meditation. That helps a lot. That helps me relax more. So I think I'm getting there. I think as I make more progress, you know, I'll feel better about myself, and obviously I want to do better, and I'll make even more progress and keep going. So
yeah, and you know what? I fully get it. I've like undergone a massive life change over the past 6 months, and progress is actually pretty slow. You know, it's like you've been told because the movies at this point you do a montage, and then there's like a cool like flash dance plays in the background, and then you wake up and everything's fixed. And in real life, the truth is, folks,
that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
No.
And you have to just crunch through, you know, and you have to do what you can do to get better, and you just get 1% better every day, and that's it.
You just have to keep trying, and don't think it as setback as, oh, well, there's no point now, I've messed up.
It's so normal. Everyone, so right, progress is not like, it's like, and that's just how it rolls. I just want to do a few quick tips on interview style as well. So, Well, I'm going to cover 3 things, which is, I think body language cues are going to be a big one for you in terms of coming across in the right way, because you'd be surprised how much that sub-communicates about your levels of confidence. We are also going to quickly go over the 2 worst but most commonly asked questions on interviews, which are...
what are your greatest strengths and what are your weaknesses?
Which is basically trick questions to get you to trick yourself out of getting the job. And it is mean of them to ask them that. And I wish you could tell them it's a trick question, but you're not allowed. So, Body language-wise, how would you normally, is there a normal way that you would sit when you're in an interview?
Probably a bit like that as such.
Okay. I've got a tip for you on this one. And it's also, by the way, if any of you guys are doing exams, because I know lots of you out there kind of maybe in college or in school, this is a brilliant tip for this. Right, here's what we do. Before you go in and you actually do an interview or you go into an exam, basically we want to clench up because it's like quite daunting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so this is what everybody does. Everyone sits really symmetrically and then they usually close their body language. They're like, ooh, like this. In fact, the fact that when your body is symmetrical and when you have tension in your body, you actually feel more stressed out. Like there's a psychosomatic effect that goes on. So what you want to do is you want to trick yourself into feeling more like happy and relaxed by adjusting your body language first. So you actually want to sit asymmetrically, which means the 2 halves of your body don't match. So if you're at an interview, it's the same thing. And if you're going on a date, same thing. Because you want to, first of all, make yourself feel better, and you also want to physically look more relaxed as well.
Yeah.
So that could mean as simple as like, see right now I'm going from here, which is like I'm feeling very formal, to like here. So I have one arm on the table, the other one resting this way. Palms up will also make you appear more open and more like you're not looking as defensive as if you cross your body language off. So I'd have angle yourself towards me.
Okay.
Because mirroring body language is a way to gain psychological comfort as well. So it's almost like there's a mirror here, and if you can mimic some of the movements that your interviewers are giving you, it's also going to make you come across more sympathetically to them. So hand up and on the table, and then you want to have this other one maybe relaxed on your lap.
Yeah.
And then you want to turn a bit to, turn towards them, and you make really good eye contact.
Yeah.
We're going to sit upright. That's right. You need to like a ballet teacher, shoulders back, tummy in. And then, also if you tilt your head to one side, smile.
Yeah.
As you want to basically look like, I am so chilled out. It's only a really important interview or an exam or like some other horrible life event I just have to go through. But right now, I'm going to be totally chilled. And immediately you'll feel better and you'll look better. So other things that will make you appear relaxed are gestures, because gestures show social confidence. It's the same thing, like if you're on a date, if your hands are right in front of you, or even if you're in an interview situation, say you're communicating like, when I'm working, even if you do like little hand gestures, I know this sounds mad, but it says, because you're not restricting yourself and restricting your movement, you're showing how free and open you are, that's going to help you. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does nice strong eye contact as well. So nice eye contact and a smile. Okay, this also reminded me of something, another little tip, body language wise, don't play with a necklace or do this, or cover your neck. No joke, CIA and Special Forces people are told to look out for this because it's apparently a primitively wired gesture which says, I'm trying to protect myself. So whenever you reach for a necklace or you adjust your neckline, it's going again defensive. And instead, we want to look open. So again, with your hands, be conscious. That your hands usually give away how tense you are. Yeah. So, and you'll find this if you're a man or a woman, you're going into a date or want to approach someone, it can be quite normal to go, ugh! And instead, we need to make sure your hands are nice and open and that you're also not fidgeting. Yeah. Because fidgeting says nerves. So it's about, if you can control the body, control your body language and all of that stuff, you will start to feel better as well. So that's good. We just want to make it asymmetrical. So turn towards me, mirror my body language, nice and upright, big smile, don't cover the front of your body. This area has to remain open.
There you go.
And then tilt your head so you look a bit more relaxed. Shake it out. Right, so I'm going to ask you those 2 interview questions, which are like the trick ones. And first of all, you're going to give me your honest answer, and then we're going to beef it up a bit and make it better.
All right.
Okay?
Yep.
That's it. So what are your strengths, your good bits?
I think I'm a nice person. I get on well with people. I can deal with people in different levels, like up from, basic levels, from someone, say, who's just a receptionist to someone who's important, like a CEO.
Okay. Right. So here's what I'm going to say is the problem with this answer, which is nice, I think has bad PR as a word, right? It's like, I think everyone should be nice. Like, I try and be nice, you are nice. Like, nice is good. But whenever you say, I'm a nice person, it basically equals like doormat, doesn't it? And it makes people think, oh, he's going to get trampled on, or it just doesn't have a lot of like, oomph. Yeah. That's why like guys now have to say they're like a good guy rather than saying they're a nice guy, because nice guy is such like a bad thing to be. Anyway, I wouldn't lead with that. I'd say that the same things, but I'd say it in a way that's much more assertive.
Yeah.
A good way to start something to make it sound more assertive is to say look or listen.
Yeah.
Because it's a command, which actually will erode, because you are a nice and person who's empathetic and all that stuff, and because you're so far in this nice and empathetic camp, you're so far away from being a dickhead, we just want to bring you a bit more into the mid-ground.
Yeah.
So same thing, but we're going to express it more strongly.
Yeah.
So I would say something like, if you had face eye contact, watch the hand.
Yeah, right.
Is to say, look, one of my strengths I've always had is that I'm a great communicator. No matter who I'm speaking to, I will get on and do my job, but I will do it in a way that makes people around me happy to work with me. And I don't care whether that's the receptionist or the CEO. Yeah. I am able to communicate with them in a way that they understand that they're going to feel comfortable.
Okay.
And they are going to feel comfortable.
Okay.
So again, you're saying, I do this, and the benefit is that. Yeah. So you say, I'm a good communicator, and the benefit of that is I make people feel more comfortable. Yeah. So you always state what the factual thing is that you do, communicate well, and then you say what the feeling or the benefit is.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
That makes sense. And also if you start with look or listen or let me tell you, it phrases the whole thing very strongly and in a way that's very assertive. And I think because assertiveness is something that's from your feedback, is something that isn't coming across, if we can even just begin the phrasing in a way that sounds more assertive, it's going to be good. And this works on dates as well, by the way. You could say, look, babe, say, look, I know you want to just sit and have a coffee, but, I made this plan, so I think we should stick to it.
Yeah.
And that's not mean, that's actually attractive. Because here's the other thing, someone who sticks with their own plan and their own worldview in the initial phases of dating or impressing someone at an interview or whatever, comes across well.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah? So we're going to watch your body language here. I know it's a bit weird, and I shouldn't, but it's like if you play with your ear, again, it's another little fidget thing.
Okay.
And with this thing, again, the hand has sort of become hidden.
Okay.
So we want to keep the palm up. And keep, maybe do some practice of this as well, more with the other friends. Yeah. So that you can keep just becoming more conscious of your body. Yeah. So I think if we change the non-verbal, it'll work. Okay, so give me the second question, which I think is the worst one.
What's your greatest weaknesses?
Okay.
Sorry, not your. What's one of your weaknesses?
Okay, so what is one of your weaknesses?
One of my weaknesses is when I'm doing something I've not done before, I tend to really doubt myself. And I spend a lot of time researching stuff, and in the end I basically just think, oh, I've got to go for it, and I go for it.
Okay, right. So the ending is good of that. I go for it. Sounds really nice and determined. However, again, the problem is, and this is it is a trick. I mean, what are you supposed to say? What's my weakness? Oh, I work too hard. I'm too dedicated to my job. It's such like a spoof question. Yeah. And you've actually been decent enough to give an honest answer, and you're going to be judged on that. Like, what? So, anyway, so here's what I think we should say, and I think it's important. Okay. You could so your weakness is about, I think saying self-doubt, again, is another one of those phrases that has bad PR around it. Like, I get what you're expressing, and actually, but we need to frame it more positively than that. Because what I would fear if I was listening to you is like, oh, we can't make a decision. Yeah. So here's what I would say. I would say, what I like to do is I'm always conscious with my job that I need to make good decisions and good judgment calls.
Yeah.
So what that means is I'm aware that I don't always know the answer.
Yeah.
And in any job, I think it's impossible to know all aspects of information, no matter how well researched you are.
Yeah.
So what I would have done in the past is read up on the subject and taught myself more about it. But I am learning, if there's something I need to know or something I'm uncertain about, to just communicate on it and get the answer that way.
Yeah.
You're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Because the content is the same. Like, sometimes I'm not sure, and so I ask for help. And
Yeah.
then, but and then I'll go for it.
Yeah.
But I'm always conscious to check. And that sounds good, right? Because you're like, oh, right, this guy doesn't want to like mess up all our IT systems. He's actually going to check out what he's doing first.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
So, what I think we should do is, because you've got a few interviews next week, right?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Let's start with these as interview questions.
Okay.
We'll watch this video back and do some more training around how you can actually answer it. I think this stuff, the body language is the one. So I don't know what we can do. I always used to suggest, by the way, you can do this as well as a little trick when you're on dates. Sometimes, if you know you have a habit of fidgeting and you know that you're gonna, or balling your palms or doing something which shows nerves, if you rest your thumb across like that, that looks a bit weird, but it actually stops you from, you can't fidget.
Yeah.
When you're doing that. So your thumb is in an odd place, but your palm should remain open and you should not fidget. So that's a little trick that you can use.
All right.
All right?
Okay.
Okay. So
I'll try that.
you have crab hands.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we will be back loads more with Martin. I'm back in the country. My life's back on track. Your life is getting there. Slowly, as is mine, to be honest. But I was going to say, if you want more tips on this kind of stuff, Martin, you're an active member of the Hayley Quinn Club, right?
Yeah, I am.
You're on the forum.
Yeah, you can always ask me stuff.
Yeah, you can ask Martin. Ask Martin. He's becoming a bit of that's knowledge as well. So if you want to find out about how to get into that, and also you get 5 free videos from me on stuff like body language, how to get onto the date, how to stop her from flaking on you. We know this is a problem. You can just head to hayleyquinn.com/hermind. And also, if you're a woman out there and you'd like to work with me on YouTube, please get in touch. If you're based in London, I would totally love to hear from you. And we'll be back again soon to report back. And I'll see you again next week.
See you later.